Tuned into the boom room, the livest show in fantasy. Yeah. Welcome to host Walt, Igler, Beat It Fantasy League. Welcome to the boom room, had to get in tune, rocking with the best. Welcome to the boom room, had to get in tune, roster is a mess. Welcome to the boom room, had to get in tune, in it for the checks. Welcome to the boom room, had to get in tune, in it for respect. Few things to address. D5 think he fly, he
Welcome to week 7 of the Boom Room. Man, I'm sorry I missed you guys last week, but I'm back to make up for it. Enough of the small talk, let's get into the action. First up is Return of the Jedi vs. Machiavellians. This turned out to be a scrimmage for Machiavellians. Return of the Jedi had 5 players combined for only 7 points, including losing the suddenly hot Justin Fields. Saquon was back, and Mac is ready to roll. I see you, Tone. Now on 2, the Legends versus Whipping That Ass. 2 staple franchises in the Beat It Fantasy Football League. How would this one turn out? The Legends, they continue to roll. 26 from the quarterback, 31 from St. Brown, 22 from Drake. Insert your favorite Drake song here. He even lost McCaffrey, and still there were no problems. Only A.J. Brown and the defense showed up for Whipping That Ass. Man, the Legends continue to roll. Down on 2, Arizona Rhyme versus the Jabronis. Listen, Arizona Rhyme was game. They came out ready to play. Had 7 players, 6 of their 7 players scored in double figures. They thought they might catch the Jabronis a little flat after coming off a big loss against the champs the previous week. Jabronis bounced right back. Both of his Miami boys dropping 30 plus. Kieran and Zay combined for 40 as the Jabronis bounced back with a nice victory. Man, that's a tough loss for Arizona Ryan. Sweet victory for the Jabronis. Now on 2, TNT versus Negro. Man, this is one team Super Bowl. The other team kind of laughs. I guess if you believe in the fantasy gods, TNT had this one coming. Hey, listen, I want to thank Travis NTA. I want to thank Justin Tucker for showing up to the game. Devontae, we'll talk later. Adam Thielen, you do me like that? Me, of all people, Adam? Listen, Adam Thielen had a well of a game. It came down to CeeDee Lamb versus Austin Eckler on Monday night. The stars showed out. Eckler just back from injury, wasn't up to the task. CD put on a show, man. Listen, it was no skips on that CD. Congratulations, Negro, with a nice victory. Now on 2, the Higher Power versus the Champs. Listen, could the Higher Power hand the Champs their first loss? No. Look, Cooper Kupp came to play, Breece Hall came to play, and we got a little waddle for the first time this season. But listen, it wasn't nearly enough, because he's been in his bag all season. He got 35 from his starting running backs, 21 from Diggs. Listen, the Champs continue to roll. We're going to have to check the record books. Is this the best start that a champ has had coming into the following season? Sounds like some trivia. Listen, champ, I see you. Higher Power got a lot of work to do. Now on 2, the Revenge of the Cheesesteak Bowl. G5, body bag. If you remember early in this year, in week 1, they bet a cheesesteak. Side note, we'll talk about that in upcoming weeks. They bet a cheesesteak, and body bag ate a $150 cheesesteak. Side note, we'll talk about that in a few weeks coming up. Listen, G5, this wasn't the prettiest game. First team to 90 I thought would win, and that would be G5. This was one of those games where G5 said, thank you, I'll take the victory and get out of here. Body bag guy look at it like, look, I got the stinker out the way. Let's look forward to next week. Hey, at least you didn't lose a $100 50 cheesesteak. We'll talk about that in upcoming weeks. Listen, we had a special guest lined up this week, but we had some scheduling conflicts. So we'll get back to that one. $150 cheesesteak. But now, let's pivot to something I thought we could talk about that we all would be interested in. And we had a flurry of trades in the last 2 weeks, spurred by the free trade party, which shout out to Lincoln Legends for actually coming out to attend. Listen, the first trade was made at the trade party, and it was a big trade. Arizona Ryan and Lincoln Legends. Lincoln Legends traded Christian Kirk and Isaiah Pacheco to Arizona Ryan for Brandon Ayuk and Tank Bigsby. Now listen, I didn't want to say anything. Y'all always give me a hard time. So I reached out to the committee and I said, can we get a consensus grade for each team in this trade based upon who they gave up, what they received, and how their roster looks now? So listen, they said they gave Arizona Ryan a A- for this trade. They thought it was a no-brainer for Arizona Ryan getting Christian Kirk and Isaiah Pacheco. They gave Lincoln Legends a C+ for this trade. Thought that he paid a little too much for Brandon Ayuk. They thought Christian Kirk and Isaiah Pacheco could have got somebody that you can count on from week to week. It's still weeks where they said where Brandon Ayuk can sometimes disappear on you. Listen, that's what the committee said. Now to the second trade. Lincoln Legends then turned around and traded Tank Bigsby to TNT for Mitchell, the backup running back in San Francisco. Now, I can tell you from my perspective why we made the trade. For us, it was a no-brainer. I get the backup to my young explosive NTN. That's my guy. NTN. Anyway, and as much as I liked Mitchell, I was able to give him up because watching Mason play now, I wasn't sure who the handcuff was, and I didn't want those problems. I let the Legends worry about that. McCaffrey isn't hurting nothing, is he? All right, now, okay, next one. Listen, the next trade, TNT traded Trevor Lawrence and Keontae Ingram to Machiavellians for Geno Smith. Once again, we can talk to TNT to ask him what was his perspective on this trade. TNT, thanks for having me. Listen, for me, Trevor Lawrence just hasn't been doing what I need him to do this season so far, and we off to a bad start. So we just wanted to shake the snow globe. And Jacksonville just wasn't scoring enough to support Trevor Lawrence and Etienne. It was I thought this was a 3 to 4 touchdown team a week, and they looking to be 1 to 2 touchdowns a week. So that's why we got off of them. You got to give to get. So I thought, I had to give up a little extra to get Geno. And then I got Geno and CJ going forward. So that was my thinking behind it. And I'm pretty sure for Machiavellians, it was a no-brainer. You're going to give me a running back that I can play for my backup quarterback? Who wouldn't make that deal? So that was my logic behind it. Boom. Now on to probably the blockbuster trade so far this season. We got Body Bag trading Brock Purdy, Amari Cooper, and T. Higgins to Negro for Deontay Johnson, Gardner Minshew, and C.D. Lamb. Man, this one reverberated throughout the league. Now, let's see what the committee thought of this trade. They gave Body Bag a A- for this trade. They thought what Body Bag gave up. They thought Body Bag clearly got the best player in this trade, which is C.D. Lamb. They thought what he gave up to give him. If you cross out one of the receivers, it's basically T. Higgins and Brock Purdy. The only thing the committee didn't like about this. They thought Brock Purdy was a little bit better play than Kirk Cousins without Jefferson. But they wouldn't have let it hold up the trade. For Negro, he got a B, solid B. It's a solid B for this trade. He got a little bit more depth, but he lost a lot of top end. The whole key to this, they said, is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper probably is the best player in fantasy who nobody talks about. You never hear Amari Cooper's name. He doesn't get the hype or anything, but he consistently, gives you, low wide receiver 1, high wide receiver 2 numbers. So, him and T. Higgins, if he gonna play both of them, then the committee says it's a solid B. And also the upgrade of Purdy, they like that. They just thought CeeDee Lamb is a special player. And the last trade, T. Higgins gets traded for the third time. He getting passed around like some cigarettes here. T. Higgins gets traded by Negro to TNT for Alexander Madison. I know, I didn't realize I made this many trades, right? For me, listen, he made the offer. It was just too much value to pass up. I know T. Higgins has been struggling so far, but for us, he clearly would step in and be our number 2 receiver. And we had some depth at running back where we were able to move Madison. We wish him well, and hope everything works out for him. There you have it, the trade recaps. As the host, I will say this: I hope none of the players you traded for get injured, and we can judge all these trades in about 5 weeks. Boom. Boom. Down on 2. The game of the week, as the fantasy gods would have it. Listen, we weren't here last week, so we didn't get to talk about the 2 undefeated teams going at each other. But guess what? The 2 undefeated teams are going at each other again. Can the jabronis avenge the loss, or will the champs run off and still be undefeated in what might be his last big game of the year? He already beat the legends. He already beat jabronis. Will he get the season sweep? Can't wait to talk about it next week in the Boom Room.
In it for respect, few things to address. D5 think he fly, he the Jets. Always number 1, now opposite is Seth. Put JR in body bag, I must confess. Some owners play checkers, Kajinos play chess. Me, T, and do really like Clay, Dre, and Steph. Don't do too much talking, they still wanna press. The main ones that's talking, they team don't impress.